fear is very powerful, you know. Fear is very powerful. The person that invented the fear, or the person that worked that out and controlled everyone's thinking with fear, actually, they was very intelligent. You know, I was speaking to my friend who's around 60 something now, 65, 66, and he was telling me how he traveled to Ghana because they're paying for his accommodation. Naturally, when he got to pension age, his wife, well, they're not quite divorced him, chucked him out, and there's reason for that as well. Um, so he stays there. You go in there. He's in his home bit, but luckily he's quite fit, so he doesn't really need our help. But he lives in a home with other people all over the world, people that have got children, um, that are doing their successful living wherever, and they're in the home. So when they go there, there's a reception area. And you got your room, one bedroom, studio, apartment, um, which is fine. If it was big enough, we won't be able to clean it anyway. But he was telling me how he went Ghana last year, and when he went Ghana, they wrote to him after. So I get a key and I go there, I see how he's doing, blah blah. Well, how the place is because it was in Ghana. When he came back, they wrote to him because obviously people in the same complex have told um the pension people, housing people, that he went away to Ghana, and now he has to be paying back the money. I think he went for 2 months or something like that, or 3 months, and the maximum you can go per time is 6 weeks. So you can go for 6 weeks. You can go for 6 weeks, but then you have to. That's the maximum you can spend there. But if you came back and went back again, it'll be fine anyway. Which you probably can't afford because you're on pension anyway. Um, so you couldn't just buy a ticket, go and come back, go and come back. But you can go as many times. You can't spend the 6 weeks there. And people need to factor these in when they're living here. When you're young and you think you will never get to pension and stuff like that. Obviously, if you go to the .gov.uk, you can you can find out what your pension age is going to be. So you need to work it out, work out how much you're going to get. If you're on a low wage, or if you're on a low wage or low income around that time. So if your pension is not enough, they'll top it up with pension credit. But if you're not, then you just stick to your pension. I think the maximum pension you can get is 920. So I was just thinking that for 920 per um, month, which is around 11,000, 12,000, which is quite a lot if you live in Ghana, for example. I say yes now. So in 20 years' time, I don't know what the exchange rate will be. We can guarantee that it won't be 1 to 1, but I don't know what it could buy. But basically, you could even if you're getting the extra help of income here, because what's happening is because he's being chucked out, and I'll tell you the reason why they will have to chuck you out. Because if you stayed in a place, you now have a combined income, right? So Obama priority basically is for the children, right? At that time. So there's a lot of dads here that almost have to hide themselves because they've got they've been given property, or say they're paying for the rent but lower rent. So for example, housing association, for example, um if the person is kind of the woman is kind of getting that help for the children, the guy's name is not included because Bevan Bekahubia except they'll go beyond the threshold, which means Oban Sanka Dino 80 because of that. And I said Berman or one baby. So that's why he's got his own place in the first place. So obviously the wife's pension and money will drastically change if he lives there. Just imagine you spend your whole life saying, "Oh, I'm not going. Oh, because of the children, I'm not going to do my business. I'm not going to stop work because of my children, because of my children. And you get to that point. Your children are meant to be following you, what you're doing, as in, i.e., you you've decided to have them. You're the adult, and they go wherever you go. Not they stay in a place, and you now have to figure out life around them because what soon, very very soon, they're gonna leave. You understand? So that's not how it's meant to work. You, you to the adult have decided to have, and then you build your life, and then they follow you around. But my initial point of making this video was regarding um, the pension money, 920, which is the maximum, right? So I just checked it just before I went on there, 920 per month. I would say that if you're gonna get that, then don't rely on it. Do something else to get the income now, that money now. If you do your own business, you'll be able to get that money. And then after that money, if that comes, it's a bonus. You know, I was speaking to my friend and he's doing quite well. And he's on about, oh, well, I don't know how much money he's on, but he's quite doing quite well. He's been strategic in terms of how he's maneuvering himself in the workplace, upgraded himself. And he was thinking of leaving uh, the West to go to the Eastern country so he's preparing himself to kind of do well and work and go there and kind of get a director or high level program manager work because he likes the quality of life kind of living abroad. And I'm thinking to myself, when do you think is enough? You know, you're nearly 50. When do you think will be enough? When do you think is enough to kind of restart to keep working? Because something popped on my um, one of my feeds that the average working age is 45 years. 45 years working. So you take schooling and average 45. And don't forget, you start school around 5-ish. So from 5 till about 60, you're at work or you're in schooling. That's what you came to this world for. That's why you won the sperm race to come there and just work your ass off. That was it, right? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, you need to work to earn a living, but it looks to me like it's getting to a point where something has to give. Yeah, something has to give. So if you're young enough to kind of be watching this, um, have a plan in terms of how you're gonna get a good balance. They're telling me there's a lot of remote roles in there. I don't know for whatever reason. I don't seem to be seeing them again. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So if anyone can tell me, let me know. But there has to be a balance in the two of where even if you're gonna work, you're gonna see your children.